start with the name of Allah, who is most beneficent and merciful. My beloved brothers and sisters, there are moments you wake up thinking about them, you fall asleep with their name echoing in your heart, and somewhere in between, you start losing pieces of yourself. But what if those thoughts, that attachment, that ache in your chest isn't a punishment? What if it's a gentle reminder from God, calling you back to the one who should have always occupied your heart first? When you can't stop thinking about someone, it's often not just about that person. It's about the space they occupy within your heart and mind. It's about what they symbolize to you, what they awaken within you, and what they make you confront about yourself. Sometimes, it's not love or affection that holds your thoughts captive. It's the unfinished story, the unanswered questions, the unhealed parts of you that cling to their presence. You see, when Allah wants to teach us detachment, He sometimes allows an attachment to stay longer in our thoughts than it should. Because that person becomes a mirror, showing you what you crave, what you fear, what you haven't surrendered yet. You think you miss them, but in reality, your soul misses peace. Your heart is reaching out for closure, understanding, or healing, but it disguises that longing in the face of a person. You replay conversations in your head, overthink the silences, and wonder if they think of you too. But every time your heart travels to them, your peace travels away from you. The heart, when it's tied to the creation more than the creator, becomes restless. You feel it in your sleepless nights, in your distracted prayers, in the way your heart beats too fast when their name appears in your mind. It's not obsession, it's the soul's confusion. Thinking fulfillment comes from people when it was only ever meant to come from Allah. So He lets that restlessness stay until you realize that peace won't come from holding on tighter, but from letting go in His name. And letting go doesn't always mean forgetting. It means surrendering the weight of it to the one who can handle it. It means saying, "Why, Allah, if this is good for me, bring it closer with ease. And if not, remove it from my heart gently." Because the same heart that can't stop thinking about someone can also find healing when it remembers the one who created that person. You see, there's beauty in how Allah allows certain thoughts to linger, not to punish you, but to purify you. Maybe this person isn't meant to stay in your life, but their memory was meant to awaken your soul. Maybe they entered your life as a lesson, not a destination. Maybe the ache you feel is not a sign of weakness, but an invitation to return to Him with deeper sincerity. And every time you think of them, maybe it's a chance to transform that thought into do, not for them to come back, but for your heart to find peace again. Because true healing isn't about forgetting someone. It's about remembering who you are without them. It's about realizing that the mind may wander, but the heart can be anchored in dhikr. That's how you take back your power. From the grip of longing into the embrace of divine remembrance. So when you can't stop thinking about someone, maybe don't fight the thought. Redirect it. Say, "Why, Allah, guide my heart." Turn that distraction into devotion, that longing into prayer, and that pain into purpose. Because Allah sees your silent struggle. He knows the name that lives rent free in your thoughts. And He understands what you can't put into words. And maybe one day, when you've grown through the ache and learned what you needed to learn, you'll look back and realize it wasn't about them after all. It was about you becoming the version of yourself who could finally let go without breaking. Your mind is not your enemy. It's just trying to process what your heart hasn't healed from. When someone occupies your thoughts over and over again, it's easy to feel frustrated with yourself, to wonder why you can't just move on. why your heart keeps circling back to what you're trying to release. But the truth is, your mind is only replaying what your soul hasn't fully surrendered. It's trying to make sense of emotions that were left unresolved, love that wasn't reciprocated, words that were never spoken, endings that never made sense. You see, healing is not a switch, it's a slow unlearning. And your mind revisiting someone doesn't always mean you want them back. It means a part of you is still seeking understanding, closure, or peace. Allah created the heart to feel deeply, and He created the mind to reflect. But when the heart clings too tightly, the mind becomes its echo. It keeps returning to that person because that's where it remembers feeling something strong, even if that feeling wasn't good for you. So instead of fighting your thoughts, observe them. When they come, don't drown in them, rise above them. Ask yourself, what is my heart trying to tell me? Maybe it's craving the security you once felt in, or the hope that person represented. Maybe it's mourning the version of yourself that existed in that connection. But know this, your thoughts aren't proof that you're weak or still stuck. They're reminders that you're human. And healing is a process of reprogramming your focus. Each time your mind drifts toward them, bring it back gently, not with anger, but with awareness. Replace their image with a prayer, their memory with dhikr. Because Allah doesn't ask you to erase your emotions. He asks you to entrust them to Him. You can't stop thoughts from coming, but you can decide what to do with them. You can turn overthinking into reflection, reflection into surrender, and surrender into peace. So the next time your mind wanders to that person, don't say, why am I still thinking about them? Say instead, why Allah? Heal the part of me that still needs this memory. That's how you transform your thoughts into healing, by realizing they're not your punishment, but your path back to peace. Allah sometimes removes people not to punish you, but to redirect your heart towards something purer. There are moments in life when someone leaves, and it feels like the air has been pulled out of your lungs. You wonder why Allah would take away someone who meant so much, someone who felt like a part of your story. But what we often don't see is that sometimes what feels like loss is actually divine protection. When Allah removes someone, He's not depriving you. He's preparing you. He's clearing space for something that aligns better with your soul, something that won't distract you from Him. You see, not every person who enters your life is meant to stay. Some are lessons disguised as love. Some are reminders of your worth, and some are mirrors showing you what you still need to heal. But when you hold on tightly to what Allah is trying to move away, pain becomes your teacher. You start to realize that detachment isn't cruelty. It's mercy. Allah knows what your heart can't yet see. He knows that if that person stayed, they might have delayed your growth, your peace, your connection with Him. And though your heart aches in the moment, later you'll see that the separation was sacred. It was your redirection toward something better. Think about it. Every heartbreak, every goodbye, every unanswered message has a divine wisdom behind it. The one who controls the hearts never removes without reason. Maybe He saw that the love you wanted would become an idol in your life, something that took the place of your reliance on Him. Maybe He saw that person's absence would push you to seek comfort in His remembrance. And maybe that's exactly what needed to happen for your soul to mature. When Allah loves you, He doesn't always give you what you want. He gives you what will purify you. So the next time you find yourself asking, why did they leave? Try whispering instead, "Lie Allah, thank you for protecting me from what I couldn't see." Because sometimes His no is really His, not yet. And sometimes his silence is an answer in disguise. In trust that the one who took away is also the one who heals. He never empties your hands without the intention of filling them again with something better, pure, and closer to him. Healing doesn't come by forgetting. It comes by surrendering the weight of what you remember. You can't force yourself to forget someone who once meant everything to you. Memories don't disappear just because you tell them to. They live quietly in the corners of your heart, in a song, a place, a smell, a passing thought. And every time they resurface, you might think you're back at the beginning, still broken, still attached. But that's not true. Healing isn't about erasing the past. It's about learning how to carry it differently. It's about allowing the memory to exist without letting it control you. You see, Allah doesn't ask you to forget. He asks you to surrender, to place the pain, the longing, the what-ifs into his hands and say, "Why, Allah? I can't carry this anymore." Because the truth is, it's not the memory that hurts. It's the weight of trying to hold it alone. The more you fight the thought, the stronger it becomes. The more you try to bury it, the deeper it roots itself in your heart. But when you surrender, something shifts. The memory doesn't vanish, but its power over you fades. You begin to see it for what it was. A chapter, not the whole story. A moment that shaped you, not one that defines you. Healing is messy. Some days you'll feel strong, other days you'll feel the ache all over again. But every time you choose to hand that pain back to Allah, you're healing a little more. You're teaching your heart to trust that his plan is kinder than your desires. You're learning that letting go doesn't mean you didn't love deeply. It means you love Allah more. And when you do that, the same memory that once brought tears will one day bring peace. You'll remember and smile, not because it didn't hurt, but because you survived it with grace. True healing is not forgetting the person. It's remembering them without falling apart. It's knowing that what once broke you was actually the beginning of your transformation. Because when you finally surrender the memory, Allah replaces the pain with peace, the attachment with clarity, and the longing with light. Every attachment is a test. Will you let it consume you, or will you let it lead you back to him? The heart is a fragile place, yet it is also powerful. It was designed to love deeply, to connect, to feel. But it was never meant to worship anyone other than Allah. When we attach our peace, our happiness, our worth to someone else, that attachment becomes a quiet form of dependence. And the moment that person disappoints us, leaves us, or changes, our world begins to crumble. That's when Allah, in his mercy, reminds us, your heart was never meant to belong fully to creation. Every attachment you experience in this life is meant to reveal something about your soul. It's a test, not a punishment. It's a mirror reflecting where your trust truly lies. When you love someone, that love can either draw you closer to Allah or away from him. If it leads you toward remembrance, patience, and gratitude, it's a blessing. But if it consumes your thoughts, disturbs your peace, and makes you forget who you are without them, then it's a signal. It's Allah whispering, "Return to me." You see, he doesn't want to take love away from you. He wants to purify it. He wants to transform it from dependency into devotion, from obsession into balance. Because when you love someone for his sake, that love becomes safe. It doesn't own you, it anchors you. You stop begging people to stay and start asking Allah to keep what is meant for you. Every attachment teaches you something about your inner world. It shows you where your heart is anchored. On people who can change, or on the one who never does. And yes, it's painful when you realize you've placed too much of yourself into someone who couldn't carry that weight. But that pain is sacred. It's the beginning of your freedom. Because when you let that pain push you back toward Allah, it transforms into purpose. You start to see that love doesn't have to be lost to be meaningful. Sometimes the most powerful love stories are the ones that lead you back to your Creator. Every tear becomes a prayer. Every ache becomes an awakening. So when you feel the pull of attachment consuming you, pause and ask yourself, am I holding on to them? Or am I holding on to Allah through them? Because one will drain you and the other will sustain you. And when you finally learn that balance, your heart will no longer break when people leave. It will bow in peace, knowing the one who gave them to you is the same one who took them away, and he never takes without a reason. Peace doesn't come when the thoughts stop. It comes when you trust the one who allows them. You might spend so much time asking, when will I stop thinking about them? When will this end? But peace was never about reaching a day when the memories vanish or your heart forgets. True peace begins when you stop resisting what Allah allows and start trusting that even the thoughts, even the longing, are part of your journey toward Him. Sometimes Allah doesn't remove the thoughts because He's using them to purify your heart, to soften you, to humble you, to bring you closer in surrender. The very aches you wish would disappear might be the one thing keeping you on your prayer mat, the one reason you whisper His name with sincerity. And isn't that a mercy in disguise? You see, Allah doesn't always heal by erasing. Sometimes He heals by transforming. The same thought that once brought pain begins to bring clarity. The same memory that used to hurt becomes a reminder of how far you've come. It's not that your heart forgets. It's that your heart learns how to remember differently. When you trust Allah, you stop needing control. You stop asking, why do I still feel this? And start saying, why, Allah? Teach me what this feeling means. That shift changes everything. Because peace is not the absence of thoughts. It's the calm that comes from knowing those thoughts no longer define you. It's realizing that the one who placed this in your heart can remove it whenever the time is right. Maybe He's letting it linger because there's still something sacred to be learned in the waiting. Maybe the HE itself is molding you into someone more patient, more compassionate, more aware of your dependency on Him. So don't rush your healing. Don't curse the thoughts that return uninvited. Each time they come, let them lead you back to dhikr, back to prayer, back to presence. Say, Wallah, if this is still in my heart, then make it a means of drawing me nearer to you. That is peace, not when your mind is empty, but when your heart is steady, even when your thoughts are not. Because peace doesn't come when life is quiet. It comes when your soul finally rests in the truth that Allah is in control of everything. Even the thoughts you can't seem to stop having. Sometimes the person who consumes your thoughts is only a vessel through which Allah is teaching you about yourself. You see, Allah sends certain souls into our lives not because they are meant to stay forever, but because they are meant to awaken something inside of us that we could never have discovered on our own. That person may not have been your forever, but they were your mirror. A reflection of what you needed to confront, what you needed to feel, and what you needed to grow beyond. When someone touches your soul deeply, it's easy to believe the bond was meant to last. But sometimes the impact was the purpose, not the permanence. That person might have entered your life to show you how capable you are of loving, or how you tend to lose yourself when you do. They might have been sent to reveal how much of your worth you placed in someone else's validation. And when they left, it wasn't betrayal, it was divine timing. Because once the lesson has been learned, Allah removes the teacher. But most of us hold on to the person instead of the wisdom, and that's where the pain begins. You replay their words, their gestures, their presence, trying to relive what's already served its purpose. Yet Allah, in His mercy, keeps reminding you that your story isn't stuck where they left it. You were never meant to remain in the shadow of someone else's absence. The H you feel is sacred. It's the echo of a heart being rewritten by the one who knows exactly what it needs to become whole again. So, when someone lives in your mind long after they've left your life, don't see it as weakness. See it as unfinished healing. Ask yourself, what is Allah trying to show me through this? Maybe He's teaching you to find beauty without attachment, to love without losing yourself, to trust without clinging. Every thought of them can become a lesson in awareness. Every memory a step towards spiritual maturity. Because the truth is, the people who break your heart the most often leave behind the deepest wisdom. And once you see the lesson beneath the longing, your heart starts to release its grip. You stop asking, why them? And start saying, Alhamdulillah for what I learned. One day you'll look back and realize they were never the destination. They were the signpost guiding you closer to Allah, guiding you back to your own strength. The heart forgets not by force, but by finding something greater to remember. You cannot force your heart to stop feeling, to stop remembering, to stop yearning. Because the heart is not a machine. It's a living soul created by Allah to feel deeply. Every time you try to suppress its feelings, you only make them stronger. But there is a way to release their hold. Not by forgetting, but by replacing what consumes you with something higher, something divine. When you fill your days with remembrance, in your nights with prayer, and your heart with Quran, you begin to notice that the space once occupied by a person begins to be filled by peace. You stop chasing closure from people and start finding it in sujood. You stop waiting for someone's message and start finding your comfort in the words of Allah. Verily, in the remembrance of Allah do hearts find rest. So 13:2-8. This is how the heart forgets. Not because the memory disappears, but because it finds something greater to hold on to. When Allah becomes your focus, your love deepens, but your attachments loosen. You can think of someone without pain, remember them without yearning, and even pray for them without tears. That's what real healing looks like. It's not coldness, it's balance. You begin to understand that every person you ever loved was simply a reflection of the love you were always meant to find in Him. When you finally redirect your heart toward Allah, you realize that no loss was ever wasted. The very love that once broke you becomes the bridge that leads you back to the one who never leaves. And then peace becomes your new memory. Not of them, but of who you became through loving, losing, and returning to your Creator.